5:30 on the dot. So good evening. I'm going to open up tonight's Bridgewater Conservation Chair meeting. I'm Marilyn McDonald. Bridgewater meeting, like I said, a little lack of sleep, but so being 5:30 with a full quorum tonight, we will open. Before I read into the agenda in my usual spiel, I just want to wish our agent a very happy birthday today. Oh, to be 29 again. So happy birthday. And just a note of, he's been incredible. We're very blessed to have him. He's teaching this old dog some new tricks along the way. So we're grateful that we have him. That being said, you're going to be subject to my spiel before we open. Bridgewater Conservation tonight, present is myself, Marilyn McDonald, Chair. Absent is Laurie Keena, Vice Chair. Members Eileen Prisco, along with Deb Johnson, and 29-year-old Dan Levesque's birthday. This can be viewed on YouTube within usually 48 hours. Just so you know what conservation does in Bridgewater, before I read in the agenda, we are governed by both state and local bylaws with rules and regulations that we must adhere to, along with performance standards to ensure that any impact is minimal to our surrounding wetlands. Bridgewater Conservation jurisdiction is within 100 feet of BVW and 200 feet of any riverfront. Our bylaws are listed on the webpage. What's going to happen is first the applicant presents. Then the board members, along with the staff, get to ask any questions. If they have a third peer review, we also have the third peer review speak before we open it up to the public, which we gladly invite any open hearings to be heard by the public, keeping it to around 3 minutes and wetland questions only. Again, we encourage it as there's things that we might miss as we're starting to look at these hearings. Then the board's going to either do one or two things. If they have enough information, we're going to close the hearing, and that gives us 21 days to render it. If not, we're going to continue it. If we continue it, this is your notice that it's continued. You do not get green cards or anything like that again. Once we close and vote on a hearing, whether to approve or disapprove, there is a 10-day business day appeal for any order which is final, and that must be in writing to Mass DEP. That being said, I'm going to go right into the agenda. This is Thursday, August 13, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. Bridgewater Conservation meeting will be held in the Town Council chambers on the second floor of the municipal building, 66 Bridgewater, 66 Central Square. Disclosure pursuant to Section 20, Chapters 20 of the Acts of 2021, and act to relative to the extended certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. The meeting and Conservation Commission for the Town of Bridgewater will also be accessible to the public through hybrid participation in the greatest extent possible. Citizens who wish to tune into the meeting remotely may do so on the Zoom virtual meeting link to attend it, which is found on our website. We have an old business tonight, which is 550 Curve Street, map 78, lot 20. Applicant representative is Kevin Bumvis with Silver Engineering. We do have a DEP file number, SE 116-1580. We will not be here in 1010 Elm Street tonight. That did not get advertised, so I would expect that to be on our next meeting, which, by the way, our next meeting is Thursday, 8/27. We have under new business, we will open a notice of intent, 10 First Street, map 71, lot 49. Applicant representative is Scott, and I killed names, so don't kill me. Scott Delentry, along with Field Engineering. We do have a DEP file number issued as SC 116-1585. We're going to go into a notice of intent for 295 Main Street, 10 Heritage Circle, map 20, lot 35. That does have a DEP file number issued, SC 116-15. That's odd.
It's yours.
1586.
It got updated,
You can just read it in. You can read the last two in there.
but you're so fast.
Okay. I'm like, there's always four numbers. 1586, where we have a notice of, and that is Representative Taunton Housing Authority with tie and bond. We also have a notice of intent for 0 Wildwood Place, map 79, lot 11. Applicant representative is Maroney Building Contracting, Outback Engineering with a DEP file number of SC 116-1587. Thank you. All right, that being said, we're going to go right into old business. So can I have up 550 Curve Street? That's map 78 again, lot 20. We have Kevin Bumpus with Silver Engineering.
Yeah, is that not on yours?
Oh, yeah, that I know about.
You didn't say it.
I'm sorry. Well, I will at the time. Yeah, just to let you guys know too. Sorry, I missed that. On the request for applicability, 35 Shorewood Lane, map 65, lot 53. If anybody's here for that tonight, due to no quorum, because Deb has to excuse herself, that will not be being open tonight. That will resume on our next regularly scheduled meeting on the 27th. So 550 Curve, Rebecca, floor is yours.
Rebecca, Silver Engineering. I'm going to pull up the response to comments as soon as I can button.
And can I just make sure, do we have anybody here from the peer review Echo Solutions, either in-house or on Zoom?
I didn't see any of them.
Ecosystem.
Ecosystems, yeah. No solutions.
Not seeing any.
I didn't see anybody either.
Because it's crucial that we have them here tonight. Did they respond to you, Dan, that they were going to be here?
I can double check. I let them know the last time that it got continued. Check.
All right, I hate to keep you holding. Give us a minute just to make sure if they're going to be on.
Are we not going to make a decision unless they're here?
Yeah, I mean, I need
That's
to.
fine, that's
that-
what I'm
yeah, actually, the
confirming.
Third pair is for the town, so.
I will go out of order. Take the next, or is
I was
it,
going to say, if you don't mind, I'm going to go right into new
Here?
business.
I'm here, take,
You're the best. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Rebecca.
move it along.
And we'll keep you, he'll be working on that. I have a notice of 1010 First Street, map 71, lot 49. So field engineering, I was told that you guys have your ad in your green papers.
Yes.
If you can bring that up, I will make sure you get officially opened.
Let me get this set up.
Yep.
This good right here? Just.
I would check with Dan, yeah, because people at home need to be able to see it too.
Then I would suggest.
Lock meeting.
Open one, you can share it.
This is first.
This is first. Okay. Yeah, I left mine in the pen.
Price.
Something I can see.
That's weird.
Oh, sorry about that.
All right, I don't need two glasses for this one, I can see it. Okay, legal notice of public hearing, Conservation Commission, Bridgewater, Massachusetts. In accordance with the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, in the Town of Bridgewater Local Wetland Bylaws, the Bridgewater Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on August 13, 2026 for the notice of intent filed by SJ Associates LLC. The applicant proposes to clear vegetation and create a dense grade crushed stone for storage area, construct a 60 by 65 page storage area with associated stormwater management system, improve within the buffer zone of the bordering vegetated wetland. The property is owned by SJ Associates LLC and is located at 10 First Street, Assessors Map 71, Lot 49. Please contact the Bridgewater Conservation Office at 508-697-0950 for the time and location or link for the virtual participation. All interested parties are encouraged to attend. The agenda can be found at www.bridgewater.org at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. And this was publicized on 7/31/26. So you, I gave the green card, so you are officially open.
Thank you. Rich Riccio from Field Engineering on behalf of the applicant. We're here for a notice of intent this evening for some site improvements at an existing facility located at 10 First Street for Service Tire Truck Centers. This is an existing building that's been there since at least the mid-'80s as a tire storage and maintenance facility. Basically, the intent of our project tonight is to clean up the site a little bit, create a little more orderly areas for storage, and provide some stormwater management improvements for the paved surfaces. So currently, there's a gravel storage area located to the right of the building. It's approximately 60 by 65, which they would like to pave. And then there's some vegetation and some gravel up against the building. That's another 2,500 square feet or so, which they'd like to level out and provide gravel storage within a relocated fence line. There's a fence along the side of the site that they'd like to push back and enclose up against the building. At one point, we had looked at doing a building addition for them there, but they do, with the 50-foot building setback requirement from the wetland. That was deemed unfeasible. The stormwater management plan consists of a crushed stone infiltration trench along the edge of the gravel and paved surfaces, which would accept the runoff and then overtop into a constructed pocket wetland system with a number of plantings in accordance with the stormwater handbook under the state. The design of the stormwater management system complies with all the stormwater standards as put forth by the state. You'll also see on the plan, we've respected the 25-foot no-touch buffer and actually indicated a portion of that area will be allowed to revegetate naturally as it had been previously disturbed at some point in time. There's an erosion control line shown on the plans as well at the 25-foot buffer. We did receive a DEP file number with comment that this whole area is within the Hockomock Swamp ACEC. And in response to meeting the no adverse impact criteria for work in the ACEC, we are not, obviously, we're not impacting any wetlands directly, and we have made sure to implement stormwater best management practices that would provide adequate pretreatment of the runoff prior to discharge to the wetland system. So with that, it's basically what we're proposing. I take any questions from the commission or your agent. And
Sounds good. Thank you for the presentation. Yep, I did see the DEP comment, so I'm glad that you mentioned that and you acknowledge that we are in the ACEC area. So I will say for all the notice of intents tonight, I usually try to get a jump on them, which is a courtesy due to a hectic week. I did not get a jump on anything this week, so I know I will be getting out there. But in the meantime, I'm going to start with our agent and we'll go right down the line.
Sure. We didn't get a chance to get out to this site yet ahead of the meeting, so we will still have to take a visit to inspect the site. I mean, the ACEC location does sort of, trigger that response of making sure that this gets extra attention and extra care. On one hand, it is supposed to be an improvement to the site. The site's already there. There's already this service center there. So if it is an improvement to the site ecologically, then that could be a benefit. So it's not necessarily a knee-jerk no to have any work done, but I think we'll just need to make sure we keep a close eye on it and really comb through everything to make sure that it's following all the regulations and rules, but also doesn't have any significant impacts on the Hockomock Swamp or any of those resource areas.
Okay. Basically, I'm just going to echo what you said because, yeah, I mean, we always lay our eyes on every property. So we will get out there before the next meeting, obviously. But I don't really have anything more to add than what Dan added. It is already out there. So I'll just go right down the line.
Yeah, I didn't see anything. The ACEC was the only thing that I was actually concerned about, but he seemed to address that pretty well.
And while we don't have a, extra buffer right now, we do
Right.
have protective measures that we can employ with conditions and stuff.
Mhm.
So,
Yep.
Yep, Eileen?
I'm fine. It's actually going to be an improvement. This property, I'm very familiar with, and it's been a little raggedy over the
Yes.
years.
Yeah.
So it'll be an improvement if they clean it up.
Yep. Okay, we just want to make sure we do our due diligence.
Yep. No.
All right, at this point, we're all set then, the agent and the commission. So I'm going to open up 10 First Street, map 71, lot 49, to anybody here that has a question or concern. And then afterwards, we can do chat if anybody raises their hand on that.
All right.
Anyone in the Zoom call who wants to chat on this hearing, please either type in the chat or raise your hand. Not seeing anything.
Okay, so hearing none, then chair at this time would entertain a motion to continue to 8:27 to give us a chance to get out there.
I'll make a motion. Second.
All right, hearing a second, any further discussion? Hearing none. We don't have to do roll call, Laurie's not here. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Thank you
great.
very
Thank you
much.
for your presentation.
you.
We'll see you back at the next meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll
Yeah,
be in
we
touch.
just, yeah. You're welcome to join us when we go to the site.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any update from, Echo?
Not yet. I
Give it direct-
emailed and typed in the chat to make sure that nobody's present, but I followed up with the person who I spoke to last. So
All right, we'll keep moving. Again, I apologize. We're trying to get the peer review for 550 Curve Street, but we believe was to be here. So I'm going to go right into the next notice of intent, which is 295 Main Street, Heritage Circle, map 20, lot 35. Applicant representative is Taunton Housing Authority with tie and bond. And we do have the SEDP number that was given to us. Do you have green cards? I'm going to put the notice of intent out. I mean, I'll read in the ad. 295 Main Street, legal notice of a public hearing, Conservation Commission, Stormwater Authority, Bridgewater, Massachusetts. In accordance with the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, in the Town of Bridgewater Local Wetland Bylaws, the Town of Bridgewater Stormwater Management Regulations, the Bridgewater Conservation Commission and Stormwater Authority will hold a public meeting on August 13, 2026 for notice of intent and land disturbance permit application filed by Taunton Housing Authority. The applicant proposes the construction of 6 new multi-story duplex buildings along with associated parking areas, sidewalks, and plantings. New utility services, including water, sewer, and stormwater management features are proposed. The property is owned by Bridgewater Housing Authority and is located at 295 Main Street, parcel identification 20-35. Please contact the Bridgewater Conservation Office at 508-697-0950 for the time and location of link for virtual participation. All interested parties are encouraged to attend. Agenda can be found at www.bridgewatermass for at least 48 hours prior to meeting date. This was published on the 6th. We have the green cards in
We do have the
possession,
green
right?
cards,
Okay,
yes.
you are officially open. Please introduce yourself.
Dan, I have to share my screen.
yes, if you able to request. Oh, should be good.
That's the stormwater. Yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
Good evening. My name is Jean Christie. I'm a principal engineer with Tie and Bond here tonight on behalf of the Bridgewater Housing Authority, on behalf of the Taunton Housing Authority, to present a project to replace some existing affordable housing units or housing inventory units in town with a consolidated set of them on this property. Property is at, as we said, 295 Main Street. A couple of quick figures here to show you where we're looking at Main Street. I believe it's at the intersection of Main Street and Heritage Circle. Folks likely know where this is, but I'm happy to explain more as needed. A little background here. Bridgewater Housing Authority does own the property at 295 Main Street. Currently, there is a multi-unit apartment senior housing on site. The weird thing about this is that the Taunton Housing Authority is administering the redevelopment, so not on behalf of Bridgewater. So that's the confusing part here. We do have Colleen Doherty from Taunton Housing Authority online if we have questions about the logistics of all of that. The goal here is to replace housing units elsewhere in town that are all different properties elsewhere into one consolidated area on site. So what we're here tonight to look for is seeking an order of conditions from the commission as well as a land disturbance permit. Existing conditions, you can see in this figure on the plan here on the right. Main Street is on the left. The Z-shaped building is the existing building that's there with the associated parking. And then this project is going to occur behind that existing building. The existing building will remain. We have highlighted, we didn't highlight the resource areas in the far right of the plan, but the pink is your 25-foot, green is your 50, and yellow is 100-foot buffer zones. This site is located outside of any of our floodplain areas and is not within rare species estimated or priority habitats, ACECs, or outstanding resource waters. I think this is a little out of order. I should have talked about the area impacts maybe after we presented the project a little bit more, but there's no direct wetland impacts or BVW impacts associated with the project. It is simply a buffer zone project between the 50 and 100-foot buffer zones. Work within the buffer zones are grading, stormwater management, utility work, sidewalks, and then a portion of our buildings. And then all disturbed areas will be restored with landscaping, grass, or those other features as described. Right here, the table here shows that there's approximately 11,000 square feet of impact to your buffer zone. So getting into the proposed project, we're looking at 6 new 2-story buildings for a total of 12 units, which with associated parking spaces, including accessible parking spaces, new pedestrian walkways and landscaping, as I mentioned, new utility infrastructure services to each of these units, full stormwater management design for this project, and then clearing and grubbing associated with prep work for construction. So here's the general layout plan. Again, Main Street is on the left. If you can all see my cursor, does that work? Yeah. This is the existing building to remain, existing parking to remain in front. The driveway entrance will remain as it is today. And then all work will be occurring behind the existing building here. You can see the 6 buildings shown here. Parking, accessible walkways, also shown on the plan. Again, the yellow is your 100-foot buffer zone. The green is the 50-foot. We are completely staying out of the 50-foot buffer. Due to topography, we do have some retaining walls in the back here. They are Gabion style, if you're familiar with those. If not, I can show you a detail later. Like I mentioned, no direct impacts to BVW with this project, and we are staying out of your 25 and 50-foot setbacks. We do have erosion controls proposed at our limit of work throughout the entire limit of work. And then we are stabilizing the site, once we are at a point during construction to stabilize. Looking at stormwater improvements, the stormwater design had to comply with Massachusetts stormwater standards. We did design that. We have done test pits out there to look for where groundwater is, what soil types are out there. Our stormwater management system includes collection with catch basins or directly into a sediment forebay before going into planted bioretention basins. 2 different kinds on site. We have lined bioretention basins, which are really for water quality improvements and filtering out some of those pollutants that we receive from our parking areas. The unlined bioretention basin is for infiltration. That's where we get our infiltration component here. And again, those were designed with this stormwater, with the local and state stormwater management requirements. So this is that same layout plan. This is much busier. This is our grading and drainage plan. But the areas in blue are stormwater management features. There are technically 3 bioretention basins. The unlined one providing infiltration is up in this top corner. This part here is a sediment forebay for this infiltration or bioretention basin. And just to talk a little bit about kind of what the restoration looks like where there's not grass. These bioretention basins will be planted with appropriate vegetation for water-loving plants, But I did want to show the landscape plan here to, show that there are plantings throughout the entire development. We know that with this, there's removal of, existing trees within the side setback here. We want to retaining whatever we can, but also putting trees back there so that we can do some screening for our butters. That's all I have. I kept it short and sweet tonight.
Thank you. Like the presentation.
And again,
So-
I have everything ready to pull up as needed, so
Okay.
just let me know what you need to see.
So as you probably heard, we didn't get a jump this week. We like to go out to sites. So before I'm going to have Dan stop, but the only question I had to start off with, is that an active line? Do you have an ANRAD on it, or are we determining the line with this notice of
We're
intent?
determining the line here.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to start with Dan and then we'll.
I did very briefly visit this site. I did not do a full site walk, but it's right up the road. So I drove over the other day, just parked in the back and just sort of walked around. There is already a small parking lot in that back area. So there's sort of a section of the area that won't have to be cleared because it's already cleared. A lot of the other area that needs to be cleared is pretty dense. So it might be tough for a site walk. And I wasn't able to get down to the wetland just because it was so dense that I'd have to find a better way down. But
We always do.
I always do. I guess, for a project of this size, I'm just sort of, is conservation the first approval that?
Yes,
Okay, so it hasn't gone before like the water department or planning
Correct.
board or anything?
Yep.
Okay,
Planning, yeah.
gotcha. I mean, it's another project where there's a lot to it. I mean, a project of this size and magnitude, it definitely deserves a lot of attention. Conservation, I know that we have our own concerns over, the natural resources, including water supply in this town. So I think that there will need to be some time spent just sort of looking into the impact of this size of a development. But of course, staying within the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission. So yeah, I'm excited to get out there and get in the woods. But we'll,
We got that special
Yeah.
tick stuff going now, so we're done.
exactly, yes.
I have a question unless somebody else wants.
You, I'll pass it to you. Go ahead.
So I heard something briefly through that first presentation about replacing other units. So they're going to be trading off.
yeah,
Those
I'm
units
hoping
for these
Colleen
units.
online can help explain that.
Okay, because if you're taking those away, then the water should be the same. I'm hoping,
In theory,
you know what I mean, in
Yeah,
theory.
yeah.
So if she wants to explain to us if that's the case. Is she here?
Yep, I'm on the line. This
Oh,
is
there we go.
Colleen Doherty. How are you?
Good, how's it going? We can hear you.
Good. So the spirit of this grant program, through the Department of Housing and Livable Communities was that we would, sell off for any better word, that we would sell off the properties that we own that are scattered throughout the town. And then rebuild new onto land that the housing authority owns. So selling the properties, that are scattered, is helpful to preserve the units that we would build for a more long-term, future. The properties that we have now that are scattered throughout the town are a mix. One goes back to the 1800s, but they're a mix of style, and become very difficult for us to manage and to afford to repair over many years. So the opportunity for this grant allowed us to have the ability, hopefully, to sell those properties, take that funding along with some other grant funding, and be able to build out these new, which would protect these units under the very low income and low income household and thresholds for years to come. So the idea is to sell the units that are in the town.
So then that means they wouldn't be trading them off.
Right.
They would be
They wouldn't be- the
reusing.
existing
they would
buildings won't be
reusing
demolished,
those
you're right.
ones And require water in both locations. Good, good.
I can add that we did have, attend a pre-permitting meeting with folks and we are aware of the water situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The situation we have.
Yes.
There's many people left that aren't.
Yeah. All right,
I do have a question.
so I'll pass it to you now.
All right. It's just one of my little pet peeves. What are you using for erosion control?
Let's look, I don't want to speak incorrectly, so I do want to double check. Let's see. Typically, it's a silt sock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I prefer that over, straw wattle.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we say straw wattles or mulch logs, so we'll just cross out the straw wattles and get rid of them altogether and just have a mulch,
Silk socks.
a silt sock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Anything else, guys?
Not that I can see yet.
Okay, so obviously we're your first stop in this permitting line, and Dan brings up a lot of good points. So one, do we know, is our town engineer involved in this at this point, Greg?
I believe he was at the first meeting.
Yes.
So he's got his eyes on it for
Okay,
sure.
all right. And Ty and Bond, I know, is a very reputable firm, but obviously this is a very complex thing. So with, I need eyes and extra
Understood.
eyes on it. So, one, we're gonna get out and do our due diligence. Two, I'm gonna need backup with, whether our town engineer or we pair it out. I definitely see a third pair on this with the size of it and making sure that everything's getting checked. And again, I know Ty and Bond's very reputable, but this is pretty standard
Understand
when
the
we have
process.
something like this in front of us, because we want to make sure we're getting all the information we can. And I'm a big fan of collaboration. collaboration. Sometimes even the best of the best miss something. So,
Sure.
so that was kind of where I was standing right now. You know, again, that line we have to definitely get looked at where it's not an, active line. We can definitely, you're more than welcome to join us when we determine when we're going out. We will need anything closest to the wetlands, Corners State.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's take them, yeah.
Yep, and labeled. So that's kind of where I'm at right now till we get some further. Any add-ons before? Okay. At this point, I am going to open it up first to anybody in the room that has a question before I go to Zoom on 295-10 Heritage Circle, map 20 lot 35. Again, just keeping in mind the 3 minutes as we go into the wetland discussion.
Anyone in the room?
You can come on up to the podium and
You gotta.
you got it. We have, everybody's got to hear you. Star of the day. No.
These questions might be too early, but.
But that's all right. Just state your name and address for the record. And it's something that we can work with, even if it's premature.
Yeah.
It's something that we know that we have to look at. So
Okay.
nothing's bad question.
Brad Plaus, Miranda Way. And where is Miranda Way on that map? Is that, I'm not good at that map, so is that above?
You're at Heritage Circle, so you're up on the right about not very far, maybe a couple hundred.
So,
Maybe she can put can you put your cursor there for him?
Let me look back over at this.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Oh, the label here. Is that up here?
It's up on the right, yeah.
so I'm on 27. And there's a good patch of woods that blocks all that. Did I see that two are being built right behind? You probably don't know that because I need answers right now.
Maybe at the microphone together.
Yes, just
Yes,
because it won't pick up
yeah.
your voice.
We'll do this one.
Should get an extra microphone.
Yeah, we should get next to me. You guys can stand up together.
We can share.
I'm-
All right.
All
Sorry,
right,
sorry.
Oh, boy.
They're gonna tango.
So if Main Street is here,
Yeah,
Miranda's up here. And this, there are two buildings proposed close to
is
the
this the
property
back
line.
parking lot?
The back parking lot is
little
right
tiny-
down
that little
here.
tiny
Yes.
parking lot?
Yep.
Oh, that is?
Yeah.
So
It's
not-
closer to over here. And this is wooded right now. There is,
So
we
Miran-
are showing to keep existing woodland here, right along the property line. Where we can't, we are proposing new vegetation here, an additional vegetation to supplement.
And
the
how
existing.
much, how far off the border can't you touch? Is there a certain,
I don't think there was a clearing disturbance. That will also could probably come up with,
Later on down the-
yeah, later in the permitting process. But we will be putting trees back in here as well, if we're moving for construction.
so this is, so I think those are the two.
Might be them. Yep.
Well, the back parking lot, that little tiny, I know I'm
Yep.
over my 3 minutes, that little tiny,
I haven't been timing, but some.
No, you're not.
little
yeah.
tiny
close.
parking lot, if you're looking at it from coming in, I'm right to the left of that,
Okay,
right behind that little area of, there's
so
not
you're
much
up here.
there.
Yep.
When we go out, we'll take a swing down Miranda Way, you said, right?
Stop in.
Yeah, nothing else. Cool.
Sure, the coffee.
Is it cookout day or you got a pool? What you got?
Yeah, that's the existing parking lot here.
All right, so it doesn't even look like maybe they're going down. I don't know. Okay.
So we'll keep you in the
What's
loop.
the
and-
beginning stages, yeah.
Yeah.
so-
Yeah, and again, this will be going on in continuation and, more sets of eyes, but it's great. And that was a good question,
Yeah.
see?
How long
Yeah.
how long does this, all this permitting, licensing?
It,
like,
it
when
varies,
would-
it
if something
varies
like
with
this was
every,
approved,
it
when would-
varies with every filing's different. Some can be done in one. It's when we have enough information to make the concrete decision that they're within their rules and regulations and performance standards, or we need more work done, things like that. So this is a larger filing. It usually takes a little bit longer, to be honest with you. It's not a simple septic or something like that.
Okay.
So, but your notice is now that, we'll let you know what date they might choose to continue to, and you'll be notified, okay? And Dan's always great to check in with him,
If you
too.
have any questions,
Yep.
feel free- thank you.
There's
Please
also
email,
other
call the
departments
office.
that are gonna be after this department, so if
Yeah.
you wanna
Right,
follow
do we
it.
get, and we do get a notice on that, so we don't?
Yes, if you're a director buddy, you
You're
do
in a
get a
butter,
notice.
yeah.
But I always suggest to people to look on the town website for things going on. All right, good
Thank you.
question,
Thank
okay. Anybody else in the audience before we go over to Zoom that has a question on this filing?
listen to my. No, I'm not. Oh, you shouldn't want that.
Okay, that was One Stop Shop and they were a duo team.
We do
Okay.
have some Zoom folks who would like to ask.
Okay, all right, we're good with the audience here, so we can go right into Zoom. I'll just have them state their name and address for the record.
Okay, Pat, would you like to begin?
Yes, thank you. Good evening. And I just have a couple of questions.
Pat
Pat Neary.
Neri, can you just state your address
Oh,
for the record?
sure. Pat Neary, Lakeside Drive.
Okay, you're on. Thanks, Pat.
Thank you. One of my questions is, could you explain the Taunton Housing management of this application? Or maybe Colleen can explain it. And who is
I'll default to-
Colleen in our town?
I'll default to Colleen if you don't mind.
Sure, I can explain that. So I'm Colleen Doherty. I'm the director of the Taunton Housing Authority. And
Oh, okay.
the
Mhm.
Taunton Housing Authority, along with the Bridgewater Housing Authority, had entered into a management agreement quite a few years back, when the previous director had retired. And what the management agreement allows us to do is to work together as two agencies and be able to share staff, share skill level. And it also allows us to act on behalf of times for the Bridgewater Housing Authority. So when we applied for this grant through the state, we had applied on behalf of the Bridgewater Housing Authority, and we had also committed to being involved in the development and bringing this project through. So for easier terms, I do run all of the board meetings. I act instead of an executive director. I sign all contracts for the Bridgewater Housing Authority, but oftentimes it's about sharing resources and staff and being able to share strengths from both agencies. So that's why many housing authorities now enter into management agreements. It also helps us to save on funding and et cetera. But that is a lot of the pros of a management agreement. And that's what we have here. And this is why the Housing Authority and Taunton comes in as an applicant on behalf of the Bridgewater Housing Authority.
Oh, thank you. That was confusing.
Oh, sorry.
No,
I
not
know,
your,
it's
not
a
your
copy in the beginning
explanation.
too, Pat. Thank you.
No, not your explanation, but just the actual facts, But thank you. I also am wondering, you said that we are going to sell the units that we're going to be replacing. Is it an equal number? There are 12 units that are going up?
Yes, it is. It is a 1-for-1 replacement. So we will be selling those units at market rate once they become vacated.
Okay, let me see if there's anything
I
else.
think we got to try to keep it to wetland questions though, Pat. Those are good questions for planning, but
Okay, I think I'm finished then.
Okay.
Because it was just more curious questions.
I know, we're wetlands.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pat.
We
Thank
do have
you.
more hands
Okay, I'll just
from
go, you can go right
Janet.
down the line. Again, keeping them to wetland questions, 3 minutes. Eileen will be timing. Thanks, guys.
Janet, if your hand is raised, yep, you're unmuted. Please introduce yourself and you state your address.
Hi, Janet Hanson, Pleasant Street. I did tune in a little late, so maybe this information was in the beginning, but I having a hard time looking, understanding your diagram there. But how close is this to the ironworks and the Taunton River? And how much trees would be affected? I'm concerned about trees, and I'm also concerned about the ironworks and the Taunton River. So I just want to know how close this is. Is this infecting those at all? And that's my question.
Sure. And
Yeah, you
I
can go
can
ahead.
answer
Nancy.
at least the Taunton River. I know that it is to the right of this plan, and the riverfront area associated with such is far enough outside of this plan.
I
So
didn't
we
see a
are
riparian on the
near
plan.
the river itself, so more than 200 feet away. I'm not familiar with the ironworks.
Yep, that's
Right along the river,
right along.
presumably? Okay, so yeah, that's again,
That's
200
Stanley.
or
Yeah,
so feet away.
yeah, I didn't see the riparian line on here.
Yeah.
So they're out of the riverfront, Janet.
Yeah, so I'm just concerned of that area. So I'm putting it on record. I'm concerned about that area. So to protect the trees, and which affects water and wetlands, and so I just concerned about expansion. That's it
We're
for
on the
now.
same page. That's why it's going to take a little bit on this filing.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Janet. Have a good night. Anybody else on?
Any other comments? Please type in the chat or raise your hand. Going once, going twice, not seeing anything.
3 times sold.
Ready to move forward, Madam Chair.
Okay, so I think the commission has weighed in. Now the thing will be, again, we'll be getting out there. We'll definitely let Ty and Bond know we're gonna know. We're gonna need some eyes on this. So I think, at this point, would the commission like to, or we can do it the next one after we look at it, make a recommendation for a third peer review, or hold off until we go get laid eyes on it and go from there? What's everybody's take?
I will leave it up to you whether or not you want to vote a third party peer review in. I
We don't
know
gonna
that
need it, so, Chair would entertain a motion for a third peer review.
Third party.
Third party, third peer.
Third party pair.
30 party pair. Okay, and I heard a second from Deb?
Yep, me.
All right, any further discussion? Dan has a list. He'll be in contact with you. He kind of handles that, so that's
Perfect.
on his plate. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. The next question is, we're going to continue this. Would you like to continue to the next meeting on the 27th, or you can continue to your call?
I expect by the 27th, we will not have anything from our peer review consultant. We would hopefully get out there with you folks before then, but I don't know what your schedules look like. I mean, if that's not
If
feasible.
it's anything
you
like
know.
this week, no, it can't be repaid. No,
No,
we
we're-
usually try, I mean, sometimes it doesn't hurt, as Rebecca, just to schedule to the
also
next meeting, and then you can always
to
continue it if
need
you
to.
don't
Right, so
want to.
let's-
We're pretty good about getting out. Again, we didn't do a courtesy get out this week, so.
Let's plan for the 27th. If we do need to continue as we get closer to things because nothing's happening, then that's totally fine.
We can do that.
Okay.
So everybody here and people on Zoom, this is being continued to 8/27. Hopefully we get out there and can share some more findings with what we're seeing on the wetlands. So can I have a motion, please, to continue to 8/27?
I'll make a motion. Second.
Hearing a second, any further discussion? Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you. We'll see you on the 27th and we'll be in touch. Any questions, please reach out to Dan.
You got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Madam Chair, we do have Ecosystem Solutions in the Zoom call now. for
Amen.
550
Okay,
Carriage
great.
Street.
Thank you guys for hanging in. So, we're gonna go right back now to old business, notice of intent, 550 Curve Street, map 78, lot 20. Applicant representative is Kevin Bumpus, along with Silver Engineering, DEP file number I said we already had. Rebecca, you're up, and thank you for your patience.
You bet. Got to push all the buttons again. Just need to sign back in and join the group. Back to where we were. I'm going to bring up the response to comments as well as just a reminder of what the plan looked like. We are on Curve Street. We're at 550 Curve Street, which is plan left or south of where we're trying to do some work. We've been here before and we've evaluated the isolated area, holding water at a volume that is less than jurisdiction. We're trying to put a single family home and some wetland replication in the back. So as we responded to the comments from the peer review, we were asked to do an alternatives analysis. The alternatives for the site, which has been in existence since 1989, with street drainage happening to discharge into this isolated area, and then the ditch that, discharges behind it, planned behind. We demonstrated in our narrative that the homeowners bought this 2-acre parcel. They sat on it for these years, and this is their retirement. This is their future, with the intent to develop what is the right side of the property.
We are, as an alternative, doing the smallest dwelling is a 2-bedroom for the tiny septic. We are not looking to do this 3-bedroom with a 2-car garage. We're trying to fit the smallest house we could. So the alternative is this tiny house or no house, and that's not really where our applicant and homeowner would like to be. One of the other concerns for the third-party review is to demonstrate that we have jurisdiction or not. And with the volume we have less than 1/4 of an acre, the depression is non-jurisdictional from a isolated land subject to flooding threshold. There was concerns about adversely affecting the wildlife and if we would replant the 25-foot. We agree to replant the 25-foot as well as the mitigation that we're proposing to replicate the wetlands. Which the mitigation plan is attached in the response as well as the notice of intent when we originally submitted, showing where the replication would be in the back of the house lot. As the continue, I believe that answered for the most part their questions or from their letter. It was hard to navigate which comments were comments and how to respond to all of them. We feel that we have addressed the concerns that the isolated area is non-jurisdictional, and so the work should be allowed to proceed with, guide rails, in place so that we can maintain the protection of the wildlife, the habitat, if there is any. We put this retaining wall so that we can keep residents from wildlife, and if they were to navigate along, they would, navigate along the wall and then find their way back into the wetland area. We believe those were improvements to the situation that we have here. I leave it to the commission to discuss what we have in front of us.
Okay, I'm gonna actually have, who's online from Echo Solutions?
That would be Sam.
Hi, Sam, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear, thank you. I'm gonna have you weigh in on your third peer review.
Yep, absolutely. So for the record, Samantha Carew, Ecosystem Solutions, we conducted the peer review for this notice of intent application, and my apologies for my technical difficulties from before. I couldn't get on for some reason. I have not seen any of the applicant's responses to our original peer review. So this is the first time I'm hearing of their responses to it. We had our main concerns with this were providing some type of alternatives analysis for why the house needs to be where it is currently and for the amount of BVW fill that was going to be going in. So I see they did provide an alternatives analysis. Again, I haven't been able to read through that at all. But so that was one main part of it. A second part of it was we wanted to see the potential vernal pool flagged out to know the exact extent of it. Now I see that it was calculated. It doesn't qualify for an ILSF, but we did still think, without it even being flagged out, that was something we weren't able to verify in the field exactly, So without it being flagged out, how do you know the exact limits of it? So that was another point that we brought up. Another thing under the bylaw with your 25-foot no touch and your 50-foot no build, them conducting the bordering vegetated wetland fill in this case is permissible under the Wetlands Protection Act, but under the bylaw, it seems that's very evident that the fill is occurring in order to meet those setbacks. So that was, there is a section in the bylaw, and I don't know it right off the top of my head, but that it asks the applicant to seek alternatives when fill is occurring to meet those setbacks. So that's something that really stuck out to us as well, and something that I think the commission should take into consideration with this. That is a little concerning to us, that in order to meet those setbacks, you need to fill 3,000, I think, or so square feet of bordering vegetated wetlands. So, without seeing their exact responses, I don't have responses to that this evening. But that was kind of our main concerns with this. We do still think that the applicant should also be conducting a vernal pool certification, an official vernal pool certification at this site, because we do believe it does have the physical characteristics to be considered a certified vernal pool here. Now, we did not conduct a certification ourselves, but that is a recommendation from us that the commission require the applicant to conduct a vernal pool certification here. Because it will then receive, its 100-foot wildlife habitat zone around it. And, that's pretty important to this project as well. I don't have my report right in front of me, but I do believe there was also concerns with setbacks as far as Title V, through the chair, if the applicant could just address the setbacks to Title V, because I believe there's a 50-foot setback from the septic tank, and then 100-foot setback from the soil absorption system, which I believe, I don't have the plan in front of me right now, but I don't think it was meeting that when I was reviewing that either. So those are my main comments, concerns at the moment. I don't think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think under your bylaw you have the ability to give any type of waiver for your setbacks. And again, you
No.
can correct me if I'm wrong for that. But so, as it stood before when I was reviewing it, I was thinking there was insufficient information for you to make a decision. Now, again, I haven't seen the response from my comments, but those were, our main concerns, comments for this. It's on the burden of the applicant to prove to you, the commission, why they feel this is not going to have adverse impacts to, the interests of the act in this case. So if you have any additional questions, I'd be happy to answer them to the best that I can. I would like to see the responses. That would be very helpful on our end. I don't know if the commission would want us to respond to the responses, but I haven't gotten the opportunity to look at that yet. So that is what I have. So if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sam. Did you need something answered right now from Rebecca on the setbacks that we could help you with? Or you
Yeah,
said thank you?
just the Title V setbacks as far as the septic tank and the soil absorption system. I just wanted to make sure that it's meeting those setbacks as proposed right now.
Rebecca, could you respond on the mic for that, please?
Put it on the screen so we can see it.
Oop, Sorry.
Oops.
That wasn't supposed to come up.
So this field is, including the reserve, the 50-foot minimum required, and the tank is the 25-foot minimum required. So both of those do meet the requirements for Title V, separation to a wetland.
All right, Sam, did you hear that?
Yeah, okay. So excuse me that I misspoke there. If it is a certified vernal pool, it needs to have a 50-foot setback from the septic and a 100-foot setback from the soil absorption system. So that is why I had brought that up, because I have concerns that this is a certifiable vernal pool. And if it was indeed certified, it would then need to meet those setbacks. So sorry for misspeaking on that. But if it is certified, it does become certified, it would be a 50-foot and a 100-foot setback.
All right, Rebecca, thank you for clarifying that. Are we out of the window for certifying vernal pools? I know our best time is March, April. Are we technically out of the window?
As of right now, yes. It would need to be in the springtime for it to be certified.
All right. So before I start handing it around, and Sam, please stay on because we'll probably have some questions. I mean, it's unfortunate. I do feel they need to, because they're our peer review, they need to be able to review Silva's responses to their responses. So if we could get that over to,
Already did.
okay,
Just
great.
now.
You just now? Birthday. Oh, no time to talk until we call you up. And then you'll have a chance to talk, please. So if we can get, as you just already got those right over, I think, flagging the vernal pool is going to be helpful.
I did have more to add on that.
That's my take right now. So Dan, I'll start with you and then we'll go right down the line.
Sure. I mean,
Can I add?
Oh,
you'd like to-
you can add before I hit Dan.
Only because Ken did flag the vernal pool,
Oh, okay.
but there's so many lines to add. I didn't have it all. So it's hard to see, but on the calculations, oh, you know what? I didn't even show the flags on this one. He did flag it. Oh, here we go. Is this the one I show with flags? Okay, so I added, nope, I didn't. All right, he flagged it, I promise, but I'll
I think I
attach.
remember that.
I could swear when we were out there, it was flagged.
Well, Ken likes to flag, and when our surveyor goes and locates, they'll sometimes walk tandem, so he'll flag as we go. And then he says to me, all right, well, here's your outline, and now calculate the volume, and that's the rest of it. So Ken doesn't always commit until I do the calculations on the size, okay, the holding capacity of the depression.
Yeah, no, I get, it. I know
So-
I know your calculator didn't meet, but the concern now is if that's a vernal pool, which we cannot, can't look the other way on that. That's not how that happens. So Dan, you want to finish and then I'll go right down the line?
I mean, the timing is unfortunate just because I would personally and professionally also be interested in vernal pool certification. And hopefully we can get a jump start on that next year with some other potential vernal pools. But I mean, from our first site walk out there, we had coursing wood frogs and a lot of evidence of it being a certifiable vernal pool. And I apologize that Ecosystem did not get the comments in time to be able to respond to the comments, but they've got them now. I know it'll take them a little while to review them. So, I mean, I'll leave it up to the commission. It's sort of a tough spot as to whether or not the certification process is something to wait for or pursue, but it would be a long wait.
Yeah, and that's my concern, the long way, but at the same time, I have to be concerned about the vernal pools. I have to look and see if there's any type of discussion we can have to do, afterwards thing, something like that. So, but we do need to hear their responses. So at this point, I'm looking, hopefully we could get it on the next meeting in time for them to have their responses. I'd like to do some vernal pool research because I hate to see the applicant have to, we were in the window at the time
Right.
that we asked for everything, which would have been golden. So,
I would like to remind the commission, although on the first one, we did hear chorus, on the second one, which wasn't many weeks after, maybe 2 weeks, we didn't hear anything.
I know, but at the same time, it's our
I'm
responsibility.
just reminding the commission.
Yep.
That's all.
I mean, it was dripping. So, but I'm trying to do the equal medium, be the guardian of the wetlands in the vernal pool, and also at the same time, help these people too that truly have a good cause to build a small place within the rules and regulations. So that's where I'm kind of just right now. Let's get these reviews, the responses back in from Echo, and maybe me and Dan will do a little extra research on the vernal pool as to what flexibility we might have in that. So that's my take. Deb?
I agree with you 100%.
Eileen?
Same thing.
Okay. All right. At this time, if there's anybody in the audience that would like to come up and speak, just please state your name and record for the, your name and number for the record, please.
Kevin Bumpus, Curve Street, Bridgewater. I think I came before the commission on March 25th. Before that, we were going to come in January. We had a change with the conservation agent. I forget Miss Putt was the name,
Okay.
and she
Putt,
left.
yeah.
And I came before the committee, and we were starting on this process, and the conservation agent got married, and that got a little delayed. Then we asked for a peer review. Then there was problems with the procurement on the peer review. This process taken an enormous amount of time. I embarked on this probably 18 months ago, talking to everybody in the town, your agents, etc. And if I used to do a lot of taxes. If a regulation in your bylaw says that something is exempt because it's certified or potential that you can do this, that's what I don't understand. So we go through the certification process. Your bylaw still says that it's exempt, it's non-jurisdictional. That's where I'm confused.
Okay.
I really am confused on that because your bylaws say that. So I was embarking on this reading, right, and I researched everything. I'm not an expert. That's just my take on that. It's been a long, long process.
Yeah.
It's been a frustrating process. And if the commission says to me, we've got to wait again, I don't think that's fair.
Kevin, I
really
can't
don't.
agree with you more on the weight, and unfortunately, that's been out of our hands too. I 100% don't like the weight either. You know what happened. So I hear you loud and clear. At the same time, we can't turn away from it, but I'm trying to find the best, course of this to get it up to speed. And, right now I'm looking at another meeting just to kind of see where everything falls. We have to actually be fair and get her responses to us too. But I hear you loud and clear. I would have liked this to be wrapped up in the early time that we went out there. So it's kind of, our hands are tied at the moment, but that doesn't mean we're not going to
Right.
go full speed and get those answers. And I'm hearing you on the bylaws too, so that's what we're kind of at.
But aren't the bylaws the bylaws? Isn't that like the holy grail of what we go by?
It's still a little gray area, but we're gonna find that out in the next 2 weeks now that we've got these responses back too. So again, I can't agree with you more on the timeline. I think the whole commission would have liked to have this before us earlier, but we don't, us volunteers don't have control over that. But what we do have control is to facilitate what we want to get over to them and to facilitate getting you guys right back in and getting some more information so that we're comfortable giving you decisions. And the thought of keeping it a year out is not sitting well with me. So I'm going to look at everything, okay?
Okay.
Because I'm sorry this has happened, truly. The timeline stinks.
Yeah, it's been a
Yep.
process.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure how the peer review people didn't get our comments.
So obviously, in good faith, we can't do it tonight, but, in 2 weeks. We come this long, 2 weeks. I sound like that, what was that movie? The house is done 2 weeks.
Well,
But
thank you.
I definitely hear you. I definitely hear you. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
You'll be my top priority.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
Is there anybody else with a comment on that right now? Nobody in the room? Anybody on Zoom?
Not seeing any comments from Zoom, Madam Chair.
Okay, all right. So with that, then Chair's going to entertain a motion, please, to continue it to 8:27 with the stipulation we get those comments. And please, Sam from Echo, if there's any comments back, we'd like to get everything in our hands for the next meeting on 8:27. So I would entertain a motion to continue, please.
Motion to continue, it's 55, right?
55.
550.
Yep, 55 Curve Street, map 78, lot 2550 Curve Street. Map-
550, yep.
And I'll second it.
Here in a second, any further discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. See you on the 27th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
can you please note that and be on the 27th, or somebody from Echo?
They
Thanks.
should
Yep, we
communicate
can do
with
that.
each other So they have everything resolved before.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
go through Dan on that, make
All
sure
right.
that they have everything. All right, because that's a shame.
That's when this came out.
Yeah, I know. Yep. Yep. All right, so we did 10 first, we did 295 Main. We're back now, sorry for flipping around, we're back now to new business. We have 0 Wildwood Place. Map 79, lot 11. Let me just get the ad, we got the green cards, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so 295, I'm sorry, 0, I'm on the wrong one, let me just get my 0.
0 Wildwood.
Should be-
Wildwood, wild thing.
79.
All right, legal notice of public hearing, Conservation Commission Business, Massachusetts. In accordance with the laws, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, in the Town of Bridgewater Local Wetland Bylaw, the Bridgewater Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on August 13, 2026 for the notice of intent filed by Maroni Building and Contracting. The applicant is proposing to construct a single-family home with the amenities that include an attached garage, porch, deck, septic system, paved driveway, and detached garage. Most of the house is attached, attached garage and a small portion of the detached garage and the grading associated with the work are located within the 100-foot buffer of the bordering vegetated wetlands located on the site. The property is owned by Steve and Donna Pelican and is located at 0 Wildwood Place, 79 map, lot 11. Please contact the Bridgewater Conservation Office at 508-697-0950 for the time and location for the virtual link of participation. All interested parties are intended to join, and this was advertised on 8/5. I have the green cards in my hand, and there was a DEP notice on this, so hi, you're officially open.
How you doing? I'm Jason Youngquist from Outback Engineering, here with Ryan Pena, also from Outback Engineering. As they're trying to pull the plan up on the screen, I'll just wait a second. Well, I'll just start talking.
Yeah.
So we're proposing the construction of a single-family home on this existing lot located on Wildwood Place. Some of the house is in the 100-foot buffer and comes right up to the 50-foot buffer, and we have some clearing in the backyard that will go near the 25-foot buffer, but we should have everything outside the 25-foot buffer. We're proposing silt fence for erosion control along the limit of work. And DEP had questioned, there's a small, almost looks man-made depression right where the house is going. DEP wanted to make sure that wasn't an isolated land subject to flooding, so we ran the calculations and it was nowhere near an
Under a
ILS.
quarter.
Oh yeah, it was under less than 6 inches depth, way under a quarter acre foot. It's hardly any water going there, but it was just, it looks man-made. Looks like somebody had made a little depression and it collected some water and had some vegetation growing in it. So we just wanted to make sure the commission was aware of that. So that was their only comment. And that's right where the proposed house is going. The wetlands are in the back. Oh, there we go. Wetlands are in the back of the lot. It's actually the same, pretty much the same wetland line that when they created the lot, when they did the subdivision, they're about in the same place. It was surprising how close they were. So the original subdivision plan did not have this little isolated thing. I think it was man-made from when they're doing the road. Probably had some, yeah, there it is. We're in the back there on the first lot on the right. So again, it's a single family home. The septic system is going to be outside the 100-foot buffer. It's just the house and some of the driveway and the garage that are in the 100-foot buffer.
Okay. All right, very good. Thank you. As you probably heard earlier, we like to get a jump, but we didn't get out there. We usually notify people. So one question, is this an active line? Is there an ANRAD on it? Are we
There's no
determining?
ANRAD. It'll be
There's no
part of
ANRAD.
this process.
Okay.
Please.
So my thing is, we definitely have to get out there. We'll notify you. You're certainly welcome to be on site, but I will need things staked out, like the corners of the proposed garage, proposed bedroom, everything closest to the wetland. We need just those corners, not the whole house and everything, but all
Yeah,
those-
kind of like the
yeah,
back line
just
of
the
the
corners
house.
staked out. Once you do that, you can notify Dan and, oh, here.
It's all right.
We'll get out there. That's kind of, until I get out there, my really only question at the moment. I'll start with Dan and then we'll go right down the line.
So just like the last or the 295 Main Street property, I did actually pop over here as well very briefly and sort of walk the site. I didn't do a flag verification or anything, just sort of looked around. It looks like there was a lot of clearing done potentially a while ago. That just didn't seem like normal clearing, but most of what I saw laying on the ground seems like it's been there for a long time, so it doesn't seem fresh. I did see a lot of the wetland flags in the back, but again, didn't verify each one. I did notice a decent amount of debris and trash out on the property. There were 6 or 7 potentially more wooden pallets scattered out there. I found a tire in the woods. Found a lot of old trash, glass bottles, plastic bottles, including discarded motor oil containers.
Is this in the wetlands or just in the lot?
This was just in the lot, but pretty
Okay.
close to the
That-
wetlands.
Yeah,
it's
so that'll all be getting cleaned up during the process.
okay. I just wanted to make sure that the commission was aware.
We'll
It-
take a good look when we get out there, and that's
Yeah.
always a condition we do anyway.
If there's anything in the wetlands too, you could have a condition for, to remove by hand if there's anything in the wetlands, especially if there's pallets or something like that that's in there.
That's all I have. We'll get out there soon.
Okay, yes. All right.
We have a busy week,
Yep. Anybody can join us.
as long as I can get out of work. Yeah, I didn't see anything on here that really concerned me. Other than
Yeah, we'll
the
just go
wetland
through-
flags, yeah.
Yep, go on, take a look. It's not an active line, Eileen?
I have no issues with it. It's an old subdivision that was done 20, 30 years ago, and so probably everybody's been dumping, you know? It's an empty lot that's been sitting there.
Unfortunately, that happens around town more than we like to see. Yep. So,
No issues.
so yeah, just, give Dan a notification when you've staked that stuff
Yeah,
out.
we have
and
our
you're
own
more than-
surveyor, so we can stake out anytime. So if you guys just want to pick a date, we'll make sure it's staked out prior to then. So just let us know
Yeah, we'll let you know. I usually coordinate with him during the beginning of the week. It's,
and we'll try and get our wetland scientists out there to go with
Yep.
you, just so in case you have any questions and we need to check anything out.
Yep.
Be more than happy to.
all
go
right.
out there with you.
We got a game plan. Before I ask for a continuation, is there anybody here with a question on the filing on, Wildwood Place?
One up.
I'm just gonna have you state your name and your address for the record.
Walter Knox, 789 Auburn Street. There's a drainage outfall pipe that discharges onto the property that services two catch basins out in front of my yard on Auburn Street. Just curious what's going to be done with that. It discharges into a deep ravine onto that property that's being proposed for the house to be built on. And I've been maintaining it for the past 40 years. And the pipe is starting to decay too. So just wanted to know what's being proposed to be done about that.
Let me see if Outback has an answer for you tonight, if that's in their plans. Hold on, sir.
Yep, so. Can you move the mouse over to the. Yeah, so right where the mouse is, there's a pipe that outlets right there, and that water actually flows right into the wetlands. So you can see we're not doing, that's in the 25-foot no touch. We're not doing anything in there. So that pipe's gonna remain as it is now.
That's been there for a long time.
Been there for a very long time, so.
Do you think, is it drainage from the subdivision?
No, I think
It's not to do with nothing to do with your lot, right?
So here's the pipe. Right. And then there's that little ditch that comes right down. So we're not doing anything. We can't do anything back there. And there's actually an easement there too, so
Might be the
that's gonna stay the way.
rate of a building,
Well-
subdivision range.
Talk to the.
And then we own that.
What the gentleman's stating is that nothing's going to be done with that pipe. And as I stated, I've been maintaining it for the past 40 years. If nothing's going to be done with the pipe and I can't access the property anymore to be able to clean it out, that's going to block off and it's going to flood mine and my
Yeah.
neighbor's properties out on Auburn Street. So I don't know if this is the
Well, we can, that's great information for us to pass it on because it probably would be, ended up being like DPW, the town stuff.
Yeah.
So if it's probably like, Eileen was saying that might have been put in by,
Drainage from the subdivision.
from the
originally,
subdivision,
one of the
and you've been a
lots.
great,
sorry, again?
it might have been drainage from the subdivision installed from like the previous developer.
Oh, this pipe has been there before I even moved in 40 years ago. It services the catch basins out on Auburn Street, goes through my property and discharges out onto the wooded lot. As I stated, I've
DPW,
been
yeah.
maintaining it for 40 years. The pipe is starting to decay. If I can't have access, and I don't want to have access to the property anymore, it's going to block off, it's going to flood out the properties on Auburn Street. I had the Conservation Commission out there along with the town engineer 30 years ago when Wildwood Place was first being proposed. Nothing's been done.
Right.
So,
It's gotta be something to do with the DPW.
Yeah, so it's a good catch. And again, thank you for cleaning that out for all these years. And my son lives right in Auburn, so we thank you. But obviously, we're going to pass that information on to
I've already
DPW.
sent them an email a month and a half ago, never got any response from
We'll
them.
follow back up. I know the head has been out with stuff, so we'll
I-
follow back up because we do not want that pipe backing up. And this is
No,
how
it's-
we're kind
it
of
will
finding some
too,
town
because
pipes with these filings
Every year I've
lately.
cleaned it out with, from sand sediment because it's in a deep ravine. And if it's not maintained, we're going to have problems.
All right, we'll take care of your tour of duty. Thank you so much for handling that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
We'll make sure we get that. And then we'll just back up and cause more problems.
You have another comment? Come on
Oh,
up.
go on up.
I'm actually Wally's neighbor. My name is Kristen Russo. I'm at 795 Auburn Street.
Okay, great.
How are you?
Good,
Good.
how are you doing?
Good. Actually, I have the same concern as he is because we are actually neighbors and have witnessed all of that. I do actually have a question in regards to what is the second garage? Like, where is that going to be? I couldn't really see. And what is it going to be for? Like, is it going to be used for, do we know how big it is? Like, just concerned, I mean, we have a lot of wildlife out there. We have a lot of natural habitat.
Obviously, we don't
And
do
not only that,
commercial
but my
garages
family
there, but we
has
just have to
gone-
keep it to wetland
Oh,
questions.
so
Like,
I knew, I had a feeling. I even told my husband, I was like, I think it's. just
yeah, I
wetland.
mean, that's not a wetland, but you can,
24 by 24 detached. That's actually pretty, very.
That's
normal.
standard.
that's standard, yeah.
But, well, I guess, I don't have any questions though, because they're not really wetland other than what Wally already had.
Yeah.
But where?
That drainage.
Where is this? Where is that?
I did notice significant amount of animal tracks in that area as well, but I mean, it tracks considering that it's connected to the Taunton River Preserve on the southwestern side. So
Okay, we'll take a good look when we're out there. All right, guys, I gotta reel this back in.
Sorry.
You guys good?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Again, guys, thank you for that information. That was good. Anybody on Zoom, Dan, that has a question on this filing?
anyone on Zoom has a comment, please either raise your hand or type in the chat. Not seeing any, Madam Chair.
Okay, so Chair's gonna entertain a motion to continue to next meeting, 8/27, and we'll get out there for a site walk.
Make the motion. That would continue it.
Second.
I was reading it.
Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yep,
just
thank-
let us know the
thank you,
date.
thank
and
you.
We'll get out there with you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Chair's gonna make a motion for a quick 2-minute pause, please. Can I have a motion?
Oh, I'll make a motion for 2-minute pause.
Second? All right. Be right back.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, you should be all set now.
Okay. I should have timed this out, but thank you. All right, we're now moving right along into Conservation Commission business administrative items. We have on 719 Plymouth Street, Wells, 10A, 10B. Actually, I've already read this into the agenda, so we'll just start and go down the line. Just a reminder, there is no public comment during conservation administrative items, but we certainly entertain any emails to the commission department. And if there is any IT updates on us, also getting an email to help you field any comments. So 1719 Plymouth Street, Wells, 10A, 10B update discussion. So I did talk to Azu. He's not here tonight. With the update that I have is on that lab request that I had, they did call the lab. Unfortunately, it was out of the window to add it. So, but the good news is they are planning on doing in the next couple of weeks some more test borings and test pits. So at that time, I asked to be notified. We'll go out, we'll resample to get that full panel, and I've asked to be on site when they do that. So that's pretty much the update, and they'll be keeping us more informed. But obviously, we'll get an email when they're going to be doing the test borings and test pits.
Absolutely.
Okay, guys, and that should be scheduled in the next 2 weeks. Great Hill Drive, 0 Plymouth Street, BSU cease and desist updates. Dan, I'm going to really give this to you, and if you guys didn't have a chance to look at his recent pictures after the rainstorm, they're quite significant. I don't know if you have them to put up.
Yes.
Okay, so, yeah, okay.
These are rainstorm pictures. So we've been in touch with the folks from DCAM and with the folks, I had a visit from the legal representatives of the Bridgewater Trust Foundation. There was a little bit of miscommunication between the two parties as DCAM is sort of running the project. Bridgewater Trust, the university who owns the property, was sort of letting them run the project and was not fully aware of the dialogue we had had with DCAM thus far. They're now aware, they're now involved, and they've given us their signature of approval that they're happy to make sure that the rest of this goes as smoothly as possible and that they're willing to play ball. And they've assured me that everything should be good to go. So just for another quick update on the conditions, because I believe last the commission requested that DCAM come back with the NOI that includes a testing of the stockpile of soil on the site. Since then, we went out and visited the site during let me get my screen up. Yes, during a recent rain event, and was able to witness a bit of runoff, you could say, from the site.
Oh, yeah.
There's a significant amount, and again, this has since been lightly cleaned on the roadside, and DCAM has cleaned up the sedimentation in the culvert, the stormwater culvert, and they have also installed an improved sediment and erosion control barrier. So they've installed a new erosion control barrier. It looks good. I checked it out myself. So far, so good. We got a little bit of rain today. Maybe stop by after and
I
see
was
how
there
it held
today.
up.
I'll update that
Oh,
afterwards.
yes. And then some of my other photos that I have in here. See if I can click through easily. This is a longer video. I'm not going to go through the whole thing just because it's about 5.5 minutes long. But the general gist of it is a significant amount of runoff coming from just about the entire surface of the stockpile. So all of the stockpile surface sediment is contributing towards this runoff in one shape or another. We've got a decent amount of pooling on the roadway and then comes down. And you can notice in the video as well that they did move the heavy equipment that was on site. So that is gone. Let me see if I can jump ahead here. We had a significant amount of, this is a pileup of sediment sort of overflowing on top of the erosion control barrier that was there at the time. I apologize that this appears to be skipping and buffering on the Zoom call. Like I said, a significant amount of sediment in this river. This isn't even the river, this is the stormwater runoff culvert. And then down near the bottom, this had piled up very deep. And then we go across the street. So it's, if I cut back very quickly, you can see it's cutting into the culvert, which runs under the street. Right there. So then jumping across the street, there's more runoff down the road. This gets us closer and closer towards the wetland and well within the 100-foot buffer, potentially within the 50 and 25-foot buffer, but without having that mapped out, I cannot confirm. And if we come down a little bit farther, this is the outflow from that culvert. Cut back a little bit. Goodness, I wish that this would play at a regular quality. So that's the first pooling area from the first culvert, and then you can see from the culvert right there, this is a very steady outflow, pooling up a significant area in this buffer zone.
Have they gotten back to you at all?
They have gotten back to me. We were in touch after I had presented at the last meeting where we discussed the evidence of the runoff. So then afterwards, after talking with them, I was able to go and find the actual runoff happening in the moment. The first time I had gone out there, we had seen a small footprint of sedimentation evident in this same buffer zone right where I'm standing. When I went out there for this, during this storm event, the pool of, or the boundaries of where I had initially seen sedimentation, my estimation had at least doubled. And then I went out there the next day, and there was still a large amount of sediment that had accumulated on the ground in this area. So my suggestion with the notice of intent that DCAM is going to provide is that there will need to be a cleanup plan for this buffer zone, because there's a lot of sediment out there. Not all of it pulled up as thick, but some spots it is a couple centimeters potentially. And again, I don't know how far into the buffer zone or even into the wetland it could potentially be, but that in conjunction with the soil testing, I think is paramount towards ensuring that this resource area is protected and is not more contaminated than we hope it is,
Yeah.
if at all.
And that, I mean, I almost got when I saw the runoff, but, and that supports what, I've been saying from the start. It's not 20 feet into that pile, as you can see from the runoff. It starts at the entire pile. So you have to test, you don't just test 20 feet of a pile, you have to test the entire pile. So I am staying a stickler with that notice of intent that they need to run that whole panel, because we need to know exactly what's in that soil. The runoff, I couldn't believe it. He was up to his, what, ankles? I mean, you are.
In some spots, the water was up to or above my ankles, and the not very scientific of me, but I jammed a large stick into the sediment that had accumulated, and it was at least 4 or 5 inches deep.
Yeah.
That was at the first culvert, so it was sort of a point for it all to pool up higher than in other places, but even out in the buffer zone, it was still significant.
Yeah. So like we did on the last meeting, like we went out there and we felt, we really had that hunch that there was a connection there.
Oh, yeah.
So we saw that connection. And then when he went out with the rain, the connection was more than we had even dreamed it was going to be. It was like, it was awful out there. So again, I went out today, just to see if they had cleaned out more of the cement stuff, because the erosion controls were up. We verified that. I took a quick look across the street. You can still see where the sedimentation, obviously it's dry now, but it's there. They need to get in and clean this out. So that notice of intent needs to come with a lot of stipulations. It needs to come, with clearing that. We need to get a flagger out there, first of all. This needs to be flagged. It needs, and a lot of TLC. They need to do the testing. If not, then let's face it, I'll just go up the chain of command. That they need to do the testing, end of story.
Yeah.
And this needs to all be rectified, and we're going to be keeping a good eye on it. But Dan will do his due diligence and make sure that they're aware. Any further questions from you guys, Deb?
Nope, that was kind of horrifying. It's pretty rough.
Yeah, it's very.
And it was, to be fair, a very heavy rainfall. It was a large storm incident, but that was just one storm incident.
But that's what you have to be
Right.
prepared for. You have to be
Mhm.
prepared for the worst of the worst storms.
How
And
much is already leached out from the snowstorms that we had?
Those are my questions as well. I know that this hasn't always had, it's my belief that this hasn't always had as much sediment, but going back through Google Earth photos, aerial photos, and near map photos, we were able to find times going back over the decades where the site had been used for some sort of stockpiling. To this degree, I can't say, I don't believe so, but in one way, shape, or form. And that runoff culvert on the side, based on my interpretation of the aerials, has been present the entire time.
so it needs to be corrected the right way. And that's our stance.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you again. Any Flagstone, is that anything, did we hear anything back on that?
Flagstone, I am planning to give them another call tomorrow and get in touch so we can chat about status and moving forward. I've made contact with them, so
We have made
yes.
contact with that manager
Yep.
then.
Yeah, I've got contact with the HOA management, so it's just finding a time to chat and discuss just best
Those
plan moving
trees are gonna
forward.
fall on that house.
Well, I was unaware that it was an emergency status situation.
Was months ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're not in good shape. I mean, it is a safety issue out there, so
time.
they need to.
Yeah.
Before, how many
Well,
trees do we see in the
it's-
news falling and people, there was just a guy killed.
It's all up.
Yep. Okay, moving on to Bridgewater Rainham Sand and Stone cease and desist, notice of intent discussion. I'm just gonna start with, as I've come on, trying to get some more information. We have DEP for the two divisions, following up with us, the wetlands and the solid waste. And, from the research I've been doing right now is that while we have them under an enforcement order, we're asking for correction too with a notice of intent. But at the same time, we can run off the enforcement order. And the most important thing that we want is to get all the information in that we can with the findings. So, I know we asked for LEC's findings, but we need the total set of findings because we can't direct you to mitigate anything until we know what we're dealing with. So that's my start. I'm going to hand it to Dan to kind of do some more further updating and we'll take it from there.
Sure. Obviously, this started long before I began in Bridgewater, so it's taken me really a while to get the full scope of everything. And even still, I'm finding myself referencing the previous enforcement order, which is still open. Whether or not the commission wants to issue a secondary or updated enforcement order with based on new information is up to the commission. But this one still stands, this first one. And the first one did mention that filling of wetland areas and storage of materials with 100 feet of a resource area directly violates the Wetlands Protection Act and the Wetlands Protection Bylaws. And there, in my opinion, was an effort to understand how much was filled and then hopefully either replicate it or sort of replenish those wetlands, restore those wetlands even. And I know that based on the last agent leaving and whatever has happened since then, it's been delayed a little bit and we're currently at a good point where we're working with solid waste from DEP, we're working with wetlands from DEP, and everybody wants to move forward and get this solved. Now, our recent information that we were given from LEC with their permission and with the permission of the property owner, Mr. Aruda, was not very thorough because it was provided before LEC had a chance to develop a full report on their findings. The direction that the report, the limited information in the report was going seemed to imply that the wetland area, based on some boring holes and some other testing areas outside of the berm area, the wetland area potentially was larger than the two small spots listed on the Mass Mapper DEP wetlands file. And that does not surprise me because the Massachusetts, the DEP website, when referring to the wetlands layer on Mass Mapper, states that the wetland boundaries shown in these map layers has been determined by photographic interpretation. They do not represent and should not be used as wetland delineations under the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and its regulations. Wetland boundary determination for other purposes, such as the Wetlands Protection Act or local bylaws, must use the relevant procedures and criteria. And I believe that this layer, I could be wrong, was most recently updated in 2007. So adding into the fact that the data is almost 2 decades old, and the fact that the state has claimed on their website that this should not be used as an exact boundary of the wetlands. And I had direct contact and conversation with representatives from the DEP Wetlands Office who also reiterated this fact that the Mass Mapper wetlands boundaries are not perfect. They are a rough estimation based on old data using photographic evidence. So that information from DEP in conjunction with the preliminary information provided by LEC sort of implying that this wetlands area could have been much larger than the 2-point-something acres listed on Mass Mapper, potentially upwards of 10 acres even out of the 11-something acres that were cleared, leads me to desire some sort of more thorough investigation, whether that is sort of more boring holes or more thorough investigation of the vegetation, or if there's any more thorough investigation that can be done through the old aerial photos. I'm not sure, but I think that there needs to be more research into what was lost, because there's no way to develop a proper plan as to how to replace what was lost without knowing what was lost itself, based on not having the full picture. I'll leave it up to the commission, obviously, to decide what they want to do. I know that the solid waste department is interested in the berm surrounding the area. I know that the wetlands department wants to serve as a sort of supportive role in this process. But they are ready to assist whenever the commission is ready to get the ball rolling. I know that Silva Engineering recently provided a few options for mitigation plans that I'm sure that they would like to discuss. But it's up to the commission, obviously, as to how you'd like to proceed, and just let me know how I can best help.
So before I have these guys, and that's what I was saying too, we need we need information, especially with what wetlands provided from DEP. We can't even talk about mitigation till we know what is there to mitigate what was lost. And that comes through findings. And I think the best interest is, and you know, I know the owner has been extremely cooperative, and that's good. We want to work together on this and get this resolved. And the more information we can work together, the better outcome we can get for the wetlands, for everybody involved, and that's what we want to do. So my personal thing is, you know, working together. If you know, we already have one side firm involved. If the applicant chooses to keep that person involved, then we have more added findings. But again, I can't recommend mitigation. You know, I'd rather move forward with some type of notice of intent versus staying under an enforcement, but at the same time, I can't do that until I have full information of findings of what exactly we're dealing with. We can play a guessing game all day and we can look at aerials, but as we all know, it's the boots on the ground. Those are guidelines. We use them as guidelines, not real determinations. So that's what I'd like to see moving forward, is getting those findings in. Looks like the applicant has already paid once for those findings. You know, if we have to, you know, as a person go out, as a commission and hire somebody for the town. But also, I know there was a question too, whether there should be a recent survey done to see exactly where the parcels, you know, who owns what, where the town line is, where this is. So I'm going to be doing some more research and some more, you know, reaching out with between Dan and Mass DEP, but definitely want to hear from you guys too, and, you know, trying to move this.
Can't do mitigation until we know what to mitigate.
Yeah.
Speak up.
Lori, I believe that or Eileen, sorry, I believe that your mic is muted, and if you could
Sorry.
speak closer to your mic, please.
Yeah. So basically, we need to know what to mitigate. We don't have that information because we don't have the final results of what occurred. So that's what we need from the engineer
Mhm.
and whatever consultant, engineering firm.
So the path of least resistance is working with, with the property owner to get us that information. That's my take, path of least resistance. Let's get that information in and go there. Rebecca, I know you probably want to say something, and we have the owner here, Joe Aruda, too. So I think we're pretty much done with our discussion. You guys are welcome. You guys know the drill. Just state your name and address for the record.
Joseph Aruda, 369 Church Street in Rainham. I own Bridgewater, Rainham, Sandstone. I've heard a lot about this mapper, and I agree. It's not correct. I don't think there was any wetlands out there. I wouldn't have done it if I did. It's very disheartening that, they're leaning towards, there could be more, or there could have been a lot less. No one's kind of like, I would bring anyone out there and do test borings. We brought, matter of fact, we weren't even finished with the project when this happened, and the previous conservation agent came out with me, and I think you had
And I was there,
walked
yep.
in. And
Absolutely.
I was stunned that this has gone on as far as it has, because I did take all the things that I thought, it's a different world that I live in the sand and gravel business. That piece of property, when I bought it, when I first purchased it in 92, was deplorable. You think that little bit of mud that was running there, that was a lot worse on that piece of property. And I've taken, over the years, a lot of pride in making that place what it is. I didn't just build that berm. I was asked to build that berm way back. And as I did that berm, every step, I mulched it so you wouldn't see what you guys saw. So I'm asking at this time, and I agree, if someone wants to come out, do soil borings, I bring an excavator out there numerous times to have it checked, because I honestly believe that I didn't do anything wrong. But what I said to Rebecca and Larry is, I am such as yourselves. I love nature. I love the whole process. I believe that you can do things in this state still and benefit the environment. And that's what I'm trying to do. So I came right out of the gate and said, you know what? This town's been great to us through the years. I have 10 acres there that I would be willing to donate to the conservation, so it's permanently in your name. They did all the, where the aerials showed, it said 2 acres. And we went back in time and got maps, which I think at that meeting we kind of showed, but it was kind of a confusing. The meeting when we had the solid waste, it kind of got a little mismatched up. But I'm willing to show, or at least explain the story that we saw there. There was a logging road. That place has been manipulated since the 50s, long before I was even around. And all I've done is try to clean it up. So with the board's consideration, I would say the whole entire parcel that I bought was 13 acres. The amount of land that they're saying could have been touched, I thought was 2 acres. If you doubled it and said 4 acres, if I said I got 10 acres that I don't want to see a house out there. That's why I put that berm up, to stop that. That's a beautiful business for my kids. I mean, you can tell I'm investing in Bridgewater. I'm not here just to make money like the previous owners did and scram. I'm willing to give up that whole 10 acres, we donate it, however you guys see fit. I would hate to go out there. I know they say, replicate. And they said that to me, we can go out, there's so much land out there, because they were originally going to put a retreat lot out there. They would have to come back in the day and go through some hoops, but there was a retreat lot I don't want any more houses. Not that I have a problem with people, but I have a problem for land being open. That's why I own as many farms as I do. I own farms in Sandwich, Rainham, Middleborough, Berkeley. I believe that we're crunching land, and I believe I've raised both my boys to be the same as myself. People say, people can get up here and tell you whatever they want to tell you, but the proof is I don't have houses there. I don't have houses on any of my farms. I just have land that I'm willing, and I think it would be a great thing long after I'm gone, that land would remain permanently to the conservation, whether it could go directly to you. I know that the trust, there's a trust out there that buys land. I think that did it with the Wymans. I didn't want to sell it. I just, because myself, I can control it. I give it. I don't want to sell it. I want to give it if that is feasible to the board. We bring up
I
a
can speak on
plan.
that right now. Mr. Rudy, you've been
Yeah.
very, again, cooperative, but that can't be on the table
Okay.
until.
Until you figure out what the mitigation.
Until we
Right,
have,
right.
things in the past, I get it, things in the past.
Yeah.
But we're regulation based and we're trying to figure out what exactly did happen out there.
Yep.
And until we do, we can't say, all right, yeah, we'll take 10 acres there that like.
No, and I'm not trying to not be what you're saying. Mark from LEC, that was on that list that I had gotten. He had suggested to me an attorney that shows how there's laws out there for sand and gravel companies that previous owners did roads through areas, caused problems to get, my biggest concern was not coming in with an attorney off the bat till I actually came into and told you guys, I come in with an attorney, I feel like I
It'll
look guilty.
scare us, don't worry
No,
about it.
no,
You
it's
can
not.
have an attorney.
I know you don't get scared, right? I don't think any.
In fact, I
but it's-
encourage environmental attorneys.
well,
They know
yeah,
a lot about the
but it's
rules and
like,
regs.
I've done business the same way. I go to someone if I have a problem first. And then I say, well, maybe this person can give you case laws that allow you to say, okay, or we get somebody that you guys want to have come out and do soil borings and look and say, everything he did was okay.
I think this is going to be my take and what I
Yep.
see, and I'm going to put it in the form of, maybe a diagnosis. As you
Yep.
guys all know, I'm a nurse. We can't treat something,
We
we
know
can
what it
start
is.
treating it, but we really have to get that diagnosis. And so we need to really know what existed out there, what happened out there.
Yes.
And my understanding is with LEC being out there, that they do have some findings.
Yes.
So those would be very helpful to the commission to start with those. Otherwise, we're going to
I
have to do.
thought I sent everything to him. I know I did just attach the first
I
thing,
think
but
we
he
need
had
to
showed.
do the
So, and then I
printout.
said to Mark, like, come on out. We hired another consultant, scientist, that's not on your list. And he went out and he did his own evaluation too. And then when I talked to Mark the last time, because he worked for me, he can't be a third-party review. So if you have someone that you want me to get now, I just was more looking to clarify.
He can still work for you though, so if he's
Okay.
already done the work and the findings, because we don't have a narrative finding, correct? That they volunteered over?
Not that I received. I received these four, 1, 2, 3,
Yeah, because he had
images.
stated the
Right.
boundary of it.
Yeah.
And what
So
he
it's a
did,
narrative finding, and then if you choose to keep him involved, because we're only gonna have to do the same thing. We have to get down to the basic science of the diagnosis.
yeah,
And then, Mass DEP is gonna wanna see the exact same thing. So if we don't do our job, they're gonna do it too.
right, no, and I don't have a problem.
Yeah,
Like, if they can
so-
come out, like I said to the woman from DEP, if you guys want to come out and do soil borings, come on out. I have nothing to hide.
If you're, working with LEC on top of Silver, if we
Yeah.
want to go back out again with LEC, that's a great start. Let's talk about what they're
Okay,
finding.
so you don't have, I was confused because Mark said to me that he wouldn't be able to be a third-party review.
He can still work with you, though. He can still
Okay,
guide you.
Okay, I just was confused.
And then we're going to end up third pairing it anaiway, to be honest with you. That's going to be the
So if
nature
I-
of something this large.
That's what I
So,
was trying, because
yeah, he
they're
would
they're
not
very,
be subject to a
they're-
third pair for us.
all scientists, they're expensive.
Oh, yeah.
So I had paid Mark to do his thing, and if I gotta pay for the commission, I said, I've got nothing to hide, I'll get another pair of eyes in here, and I want to get this over and done with.
So use the pair of eyes that you have now.
Yeah.
That's gonna give us more information. We're gonna have to, when we decide
Peer review.
what the finding is out there, whether it's not like what we're doing, then obviously there's a peer review.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So we keep talking about a peer review and we keep talking about DEP. Is DEP gonna act as our third-party peer review so we can actually save this gentleman some?
They can't really, they can collaborate, but they can't peer review it.
Okay, so.
And anything of this size, you know, I'm gonna peer review out.
SEA would like to also, we had presented handouts at that site walk. There's a lot of history that we have on the site that demonstrates where the wetlands were based on topography too. So we're gonna give you a synopsis of the history based on the topography of the land and what we know from the history of everything. We have old colony maps going back to the 70s. It maps out what was there before some of this activity happened. So it may help tell the story as well.
Right.
Even the borings, but
Yes, we need all the help. Yep. So sound like a plan?
No, it does. And
Okay.
I just didn't want to come in and have somebody say, well, case law is this, that. I was coming like I did when you guys called me. Come out if you can see something. I knew there was wetlands on the other side of that berm, and I told them that, but that wasn't my land.
Right.
You know, I went right to the edge, put the berm up. I said, you know, land
Do you know when
drops
the
off.
last time it was surveyed?
I bought that piece of property, and I don't think anybody's ever actually,
Do you have a surveyor in your firm? Can you, would you consent to having her survey?
what are we surveying? That place is
Mhm.
huge.
you want to survey that lot?
Are you suggesting perimeter? Are you suggesting topography?
What do we?
I
check
think
DEP
that
on
we can double check. I've wanted to mention that I believe that a survey of the perimeter is a good idea, just because near map, Google Earth, Access GIS, it's all rough. So getting an actual,
Surveyed Easy Street, we have surveyed the 1593 parcel that was once, gonna be a state lot. We have done some survey, not his particular. So yes, we can do a perimeter survey.
Okay.
Because
all
we
right.
know the town line has been surveyed recently by some firm, I think out of Boston.
Yeah.
Because they said to me, well, you know, you're on town land. I said, I knew I was on town land from day one. That berm in the beginning that comes from the road, there was an agreement between the water commissioner, myself, and the board of selectmen about protecting that well. So they said, you can't do anything on that property within so many feet of that well anyways. So the berm could be there, which that's where we.
Yeah, But,
went straight.
you know, like I said, we need to get that a permit, like.
yeah.
Yeah, the old days of, you can do something like it doesn't fly. So we have to make sure that, you know.
Well,
that
this
per-
has been an ongoing process for 30 years. This berm thing, you know what I mean? You can't build a berm that big overnight.
No.
Not even I can do that.
Nope.
And I try as work as many hours as
You
I
call
can.
Superman.
Yeah, so
But we're moving, let's keep moving in that
Yes.
right direction.
I don't want you to think I'm hiding from it.
No. We're not.
You do. And then if you can just verify what you've surveyed so far and the full perimeter survey and then, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Any more input?
I mean, not really anything that can't be discussed at a future meeting. One note I did have about the potential mitigation parcel is that much of the parcel is already wetlands. Therefore, it would be not a parcel which would likely be built upon or cleared anyway. And the small pockets of uplands inside, I believe, all fall mostly within the 50-foot buffer zone of the wetlands and potentially, and all of them within the 100-foot buffer zone of the wetlands, just based off the document themselves. Right.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
wasn't,
no,
it
I
was the
just-
whole, do the whole thing.
Right. Well, I was just adding that conserving it allows it to not be built upon, but if the parcel itself, I wasn't sure if that was the wetlands that were marked on there are already there, or are those wetlands that we're saying,
They were there when Walter flagged in 2003.
There
okay.
was small pockets of wetlands, but there were big areas that they were gonna put a house out there.
So it might have been, maybe I read it backwards. I thought it was
They were
mostly
highlighted.
wetlands with pockets of uplands. Okay, so if it's pockets of uplands and it's already
But that's not the
wetlands-
only piece of property I own.
Okay, I'm just saying, I think it's already protected under the wetland bylaw, so it would be nice. I understand the deed and the gesture, but it would be,
Well, that's a massive piece, so it might look small, but
The scale is.
yeah.
they're acre
Sure.
areas.
And that's kind of, like I said, we got to get the diagnosis. We got to figure out, the findings out there, what would happen, whether you were the owner, whatever, and then we go from there. So it's a process, and we'll
Yes.
keep
I,
going.
because I had this on a Cranberry Bog. They put a road across a pond on Old Center Street. And I knew nothing about it. I bought the land. When I went to get a reservoir put in, DEP spotted the road that didn't exist. And they came back to us saying that, this road now exists, and the road had been in there for like 30 years. But because I own the land, it was considered my problem. And I said, well, how do we fix it? And it was an easy fix on that. They expanded my reservoir a little bit, and everybody was happy. So they worked with me on that. I'm hoping, the same. You guys have been great to work with, and I appreciate that, because just slamming the door on someone is hard, especially when I'm committed to
And
the
we
town.
very much appreciate your cooperation. So I think we've got kind of the next step moving forward. And then, this is going to stay on our agenda till we give you guys clear direction. And
Yeah.
we'll continue
Well,
to go.
I was a little, of course, I'm usually a pretty anxious person to get things behind me, just nature, so I didn't leave it on to somebody else. And I got a good health report, the last one, so I wouldn't be around if
Cool.
be a pain in the butt again.
Excellent, excellent. All right, well,
Like
let's get
that.
this diagnosed and
Very
keep the reports coming in a positive
Right.
manner.
Thank you.
All right, have a great night, guys.
Good night.
All right, what do we now? We have our blessed 16 Wood Street.
Oh, God.
16 Wood Street, to get into it real quick, I made contact with the town council, who sort of just asked some questions. If there had been an enforcement already filed, I said yes. Did the enforcement levy fines per day? I said yes. And I was informed that the town can now decide to pursue legal action against the property owners. And I was informed that this will need to be something discussed by those who would make that decision up top, town administration and whatnot. So I'm hopefully going to get that ball rolling soon.
Exactly.
That'd be good.
Sounds great.
All right, and then final, town wetland bylaw discussion. Oh, we got some good news. We got some good news.
Okay.
And I'll let Dan take it, but we met with, the town manager, what was it, yesterday? Monday, Tuesday,
What
I'm
day
losing
is
days this
today?
week with everybody in the hospital. But anyway, we
Yesterday.
did meet with Justin, and we did get some town funding. So I'm gonna kind of have Dan explain, like, where we could kind of go with it, what else we can still do with the grant. We all want a robust change. I'm kind of looking to something that we can get going, so, because, filings come in, and if we don't have something in place, then we don't have the mechanism to use those. But Dan can explain the options that we now have, but we have definitely secured town funding along with some other funding that he's going to talk about.
Yep. So we do have the town funding, and it's a decent amount. The grant is also something which I think we can pursue. The numbers we had first gotten from BSC Group and from Horsley Witten Group were rather large range. Horsley Witten Group saying somewhere around 40,000, BSC Group saying somewhere around 10 to 12,000. Also providing different timeline estimates. Horsley Witten Group, I believe, was somewhere around a year and a half, and BSC Group was, I think, less than a year. Now, that's not to say that these are formal bids or formal plans in any way. We made it clear that this was not a formal bidding process. Just wanted a rough idea of, if we were to try to do this, what could the budget potentially look like? Now that we know we have some funding for this, I think the next steps would involve a formal bidding process to several organizations. It is worth mentioning that BSC Group is currently the environmental monitor for the Lakeshore project over on Lake Nipponicket. They are serving as the environmental watchdog, so to speak, for Claremont as they develop that. So this would be somebody who is involved with the town project already. From my perspective, that makes them a good candidate because they are familiar with the town bylaws. They're working with it already. So they know they have a rapport with the town. They're already one of the approved third-party peer reviewers. And they would have a good jumping point of where to start.
They're
That's-
working right now in the ACEC, they're overseeing that
Yep.
area, ACEC area.
Exactly. That's not to say that it has to go directly to them, obviously. I think that bids should be put out to several different groups,
Yeah.
qualified groups. And of course, that also raises the question of whether the commission would wish to apply for the grant funding, wait for that to come back or not come back, a decision to come back, and then put out the bids based on knowing how much funding is available in total from the town and the grant funding, or take the town funding, move forward with just that, get this started, reach out to groups and find a group that falls within that funding. So is it something where the commission would like to pursue the grant still and then have a larger budget and then get out there, or something where just get going and put the bids out now?
I mean,
Blah, blah, blah.
I don't want to cut you off. You can go.
I was gonna say, I mean, we should get going if it's gonna take that long anyway.
Mhm.
And if it's not within our budget to do it that way, then we're gonna have to live with what we have.
Mhm. The amount that we had and informed that it should be doable is somewhere in the middle of those two
Right.
crazy
I
ranges.
remember that.
So that gives us a nice sweet spot, hopefully we'll put the bids out, find some different organizations, and then still, I think it's valuable for the commission to put in a list of things that you would like to see focused on.
Oh, yeah.
Perhaps extra protection for potential vernal pools before they get certified.
Right, right.
Perhaps extra protection within the jurisdiction of the commission for aquifer, zone 2 aquifer areas, for areas of wetland filling, giving just maybe the commission, giving the commission a little more teeth, and then B, giving the natural resources in the town a larger protection, because the bylaw is a bit old now.
Yeah.
And like I said before, not only bringing it up to current speed, but thinking ahead,
Right.
thinking about climate change bringing more extreme weather events. That's heavier rainfall each year. That's colder winters each year. That's hotter summers each year. That's longer drought periods each year. Increased storm events and everything. So areas subject to flooding. We have specific regulations based on isolated vegetated wetlands that, if, like we saw earlier, if they're small enough, they're not protected. So increasing that protection, even just taking the current protections of 25, 50, 100 and maybe buffering them out even a little bit bigger, or adding another layer that sort of is, 30 to 35 no touch, 50 to 60 like definitely don't touch. You have to have a really good whatever, but getting the
Really
ball
good
rolling will really, I think.
And that's one thing me and Dan kind of shared. It's like, all right, it's not in our jurisdiction, but yet why isn't it? Because, the water supply is crucial. Those things are crucial, but when it doesn't
Right.
fall in our jurisdiction, so it's kind of like, all right, so do we start, we all want to start it now? So my question, I guess, Dan, is if we go with door one, the town funding, we can kind of get a group in now and start, but we can still do the grant funding too, and then what's to say we can't update them further down the line with the
could.
more robust that we'd like to see.
That's true.
With more oversight.
Sure.
Even though it's not in our 100-foot jurisdiction, we'd like to see the water protected. We'd like to see, things in those zones that we just technically can't weigh in on now. We go,
That's definitely a possibility. I think a lot of it is just if we take the amount we have now and it's this value, and then we put out the bids and 3 groups meet that value, but 2 don't, that makes it so 2 of those options we can't go with.
Right.
And even if we get the grant funding later, I'm assuming we would have gone with one of the other 3 organizations.
Well, if
So
we're in the best interest of time, we have to really.
I think so. Yeah, just because if this is going to take
Right.
6 months at least, and having a group though, a third party will also allow us and will allow the commission to also know the limitations of what can be put in there. Obviously, there are a lot of things I'm sure we'd love to put in there, but we can't step on the toes of other departments to a degree. So we can hopefully protect, the drinking water areas and the aquifer more stringently, but at what point would it be stepping into the boundaries of what the water department already
Right,
oversees,
right.
and to
So it's
what
kinda
degree
that
they
fine line
oversee,
where we're
yeah.
kinda
But
looking
still,
at
I think a lot of it, as long as it can be tied back to ecological value, natural resource value, and referenced to the Wetlands Protection Act, then there's an avenue in there. So hopefully this,
And we've waited so long, I think getting the jump on it because, a filing comes up and our hands are tied on, bylaws and it is what it is, so.
Yeah.
So good news, we all on the same page?
Yeah, yeah,
so put out some bids,
Sure.
yeah.
okay,
That'd be great.
And
request
your
for
grant
bids.
writing.
I'll get started. Thanks so much for your time.
Yes, emails, we want
In
it
your
all.
spare time, dear, don't rush.
Okay, yeah, sure, yes.
Now, am I allowed to ask a question about something that we did earlier tonight, or is it? not?
If it's a public
If
hearing,
it's a public hearing, no.
Okay,
But you can ask it on the next time. most of
okay.
us.
Well, no, yeah, it's just information I'm curious about, but I can probably research it myself.
If we close something out, then you can go after the 10 days and, if something was
Yeah.
closed out, then you can go up.
Okay.
But active hearing, no.
Okay.
All right. So everybody, 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear
You bore me
Dan.
in.
Happy birthday to you. Sorry I didn't get you out early.
Thank you, that's okay.
Oh, we
We're
need to.
still
we need-
motioning to adjourn here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is
we
a
need-
part of the
I will
official
make a
record
motion
We
now.
to
need
adjourn.
E. She made a motion.
Well, you have to do
All in
minutes.
favor?
Aye.
You skipped D.
Oh, what did I skip?
You skipped minutes.
There's
There
no
are no
minutes.
minutes, no. But I just know you acknowledge them and move. forward.
Okay, no minutes.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
But there
for
is
coming.
YouTube that is fully packed of minutes.
Yes.
Thanks,
I will be
Dan.
working on
I
the
know
minutes
you're
soon.
catching up on those. Bye.